In this video, we will be talking about Amazon flat files and how to use them to add more keywords to your Amazon product listing. And also, if you have Spanish translation of your Amazon listing, you will hear a hack which will help you to fix such Spanish listings. And this session is part of SellerFest online virtual event, which is sponsored by two companies. The first one is VA Academy, Virtual Assistants Academy. They specialize in providing virtual assistants for Amazon businesses. In any type of help you need, to contact them and they will provide you a virtual assistant long term. Another great company sponsoring this event is Getida, which is FBA auditing company. They specialize in maximizing FBA reimbursements for any type of sellers, big or small. So even if you're small, contact them and they might help you to get money back from Amazon. They owe you, of course. So links to both companies you will find below. At any time of this session, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to click like and subscribe. And this session I'm hosting with Lisette. She works with different Amazon brands and with Orange Click. Hi, Lisette.
Hi, Augustus. Happy to be here and also excited to introduce our speaker, Vanessa, who will share her knowledge about working with flat files and also fixing the listings Spanish translation. So, hi, Vanessa. Before we go to today's presentation, could you first introduce yourself and also let us know what you do in the Amazon space?
Perfect. Hey, guys. Super happy to be here again. My name is Vanessa Hung. I'm the CEO and founder of Online Seller Solutions. And we are an agency that specializes in the unsexy problems of Amazon. So basically, we help sellers to solve the tedious and very hard work of dealing with seller support or Amazon itself by taking care of issues in the catalog, inventory, and account health. And my specialty, my favorite part of Amazon and the back end is flat files. That's the thing that's the way that I fall in love of Amazon, and that's how I enter the space, creating a lot of content. So today in this session, I'll be sharing the knowledge of how to work with flat files, right? We're gonna see the newest update that they did to the template, which I haven't spoken about it ever, like in anywhere. So I mean, this is the first time that I'm sharing that. I'm still even testing how that looks in the front end. So it's gonna be a fantastic session. And on top of that, as Augustus was saying, I'm gonna share the hack on how to tap into a hidden market within the US. So super happy to be here. Yeah.
All right. So computers have a lot of files, one file of VA, file of Getida. But what does mean flat file? Can you explain for dummies in 10 words?
Yeah. It's so funny because somebody one time say that flat file is just like a fancy name for an Excel spreadsheet. And it's basically that, like flat files, and you're like, oh, I work with flat files. But yeah, what it is just an Excel template. That's it. It's simple. Like,
yeah,
it's just a fancy name.
CSV files and Excel templates. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we're ready to jump to your presentation. So while you're sharing the screen, I want to remind that if you're watching this session, don't forget to click like if you like and ask your questions. If you're watching live webinar, ask your questions in a live chat. If you're watching replay, write your questions in the comments section.
All right.
Okay. Now.
So the title of the presentation is how to add keywords to your product listing by using Amazon flat files. So we're gonna see two things, as I mentioned before. How to use flat files, which is the first part, and then the second one is how can you leverage the space that flat files give you to add more keywords, therefore to increase ranking, indexation, SEO, and also protecting your listings. So we have come to an era of the industry, I believe, where now we have a science of selling. It is not anymore that you list a product and you forget about it and you sell thousands and thousands of it. The system, the algorithm on Amazon has become extremely sophisticated. And because of that, we need to start learning about all the capabilities that the backend has and what they have to offer us in order to increase or improve our business. So one of the very first things that I discovered help a lot in all of the things that I'm telling you, adding more keywords, driving more traffic, and because you get indexing more in more search terms and all the stuff, is the flat files. Also, they have a component of problem solving, which is amazing. And you will think like, oh yeah, it helps to solve problems, but that translates directly into making more money, right? Or not wasting time or money in trying to fix issues that are super simple to fix with a flat file. So anything that you do with a flat file will turn into you making more revenue or saving money and time with your team that you can invest in other areas of the business. So that's why I call it like the science of selling. This is one of the little pieces that the science of selling online has, which is understanding the backend. So most sellers are blind because they don't understand two factors: the power of it, the flat files, and also the thing that I'm going to be sharing in this presentation, which is the hidden market that is within the states that we can leverage and tap into once we start adding more keywords into our file. So 6 out of 10, and this is a statistic that we got out of our community, and we do it like every so often, every 6 months. I put out the same poll to see how many people know about flat files, and 6 out of 10 sellers don't really know what are they or how to use them. And I believe that I've been doing a good job by promoting and talking about flat files a lot. But the second part, which is how to use them, is the most important one, because Augusta just asked, oh, what's the meaning of a flat file? And I just told you, like, it's an Excel spreadsheet that Amazon give you, right? The fact that you know that doesn't mean that you know how to use it. So that's what we're going to be covering today, especially for adding keywords, okay? That's super relevant. So before we jump into it, I wanted to explain the contribution rights pyramid, which is the way the Amazon's catalog work, okay? So before we get into, I want to make changes, I want to solve problems, and flat files are the solution to every single problem that happens on Amazon, I wanted to clarify that that's not necessarily true. And it depends a lot on where are you falling or where this attribute is falling in the contribution rights. So the bottom of the pyramid, right, we have professional and individual sellers. As you can see there, they have points. Individuals has 20 points, professional sellers has 30 points. The catalog works as a point-based system where the winning contribution will be from the seller or the team that has the most amount of points. So if I'm an individual seller and I list something, and I list a product, a listing, let's say, and then a professional seller comes in and wants to change the title, they are totally capable of changing it because they have 10 points above the individual seller. The individual seller has 20, the professional has 30. So that's how it works. In the green section, you can see a number 52. 52, it's for the brand registered sellers, okay? Once you have brand registry, that gives you a certain protection from all the sellers and teams internally on Amazon that are below you. Okay, so for example, the catalog team, which is probably the team that you talk to or the first line of support when you open a case with Amazon, they don't have the authority within the contribution rights pyramid to override your contributions or any other contributions. So it is extremely common that you get an attribute stuck, right? You want to change your image and it's not changing. You want to change your title and it's not changing. That catalog team will not be able to override a contribution made by a brand registered team. For that, brand registered seller, sorry. For that, we have the brand registered team, which is the one that we always get escalated when we have an issue, and they are the only ones that are capable to override a brand registered seller. Then on the pink or orange section, oh, that's pink, we have vendors, right? Those are Amazon 1P, first party sellers. That's Amazon itself. They have higher contribution rights. And when a listing is touched by vendor, it starts or it belongs to vendor center, or it belongs to a retail team. Okay, and they have 60 points, both vendor and the retail team, which is the line of support for vendors. And on top of the pyramid, in the yellow triangle, we have Amazon internal teams. And these are many. I believe that there are about 6 or 7 different teams, and they have the contribution rights to change specific things in the catalog. So, for example, the FC team, the fulfillment center team, has the ability to override dimensions and weight and shipping criteria, and they have the higher contribution. So what that means is when we don't control the higher contribution, we always need to refer to the support. We always need to open the case and get to the catalog team or to the brand registry team or to retail team if that listing at one point had vendor. So I wanted to clarify this because I know that the term flat file, and when you see this presentation, you will be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to start doing it and this will solve all my problems. And I hope that's true. But sometimes that's not what happens because there are other teams or there are other sellers or other vendors involved in your listing. And that makes the contribution or the changes not going through. Okay. And what I'm gonna teach you is how to work with the category listing report. One important thing that you need to know is that you won't be able to optimize anything in the category listing report if you don't have the contributions for it or if the listing is unhealthy. And what I mean by unhealthy is that it has any error in the backend. And for that, I'm gonna teach you how to diagnose if your listings have any errors, how to solve them, right? And then is where we're gonna optimize for keywords and we're gonna target the hidden market. So hope that's clear. Then let's get into flat files. What are they? I think I already covered that at the beginning. Basically, it's a template, a spreadsheet that Amazon gives you in an Excel format that allows you to change, upload, and delete information in certain areas of the business. I'm going to be focusing right now, like today, in the catalog and inventory section, which is the category listing report. But there are other files that work for different areas of the business. So then what's the structure? We have 4 parts for it. So we have the sheets, which is these things. Sheets or tabs, when you open this file, you will see that there are different types. So we have instruction, images, examples, valid values, and template. Template is the most important one. Template is the one that you're going to be working on. Okay, so that's where everything happens. All of the other ones are complementary to a template. So if you, for example, if they're asking you for something that you don't understand what it means, you will find answers in data definitions. Or if you find a field that has a drop-down menu, or you simply don't know what you're supposed to put there, you have the valid values tab, which will tell you what are the accepted values or what are the things that you should input in those attributes. Okay, so the most important template, my favorite ones, and the ones that I really use the most are data definition and valid values. Example images and instructions are really just to show you how it's done, but it doesn't really give you much information. And if you've already seen this video, you probably don't need it. So then we have the schema of the template, which is the top 3 rows of the file. And top 3 rows are in the category listing report. There are other files, there are other flat files that have just 1 or 2 rows. So it doesn't matter. You just need to know that those rows are normally colored by Amazon, and you cannot delete them. Like, that part is the only part of a flat file that is not customizable. If I get to delete one of the rows, I lose the file, because you need to understand that this is how the backend, this is how the catalog works, right? Through Excel, and this is like lines of code in a sense. So be mindful, don't delete them. And the other thing is that this will give you the structure, okay, for your file. It will tell you what are the things that you need to input. It will give you a guideline on what is required and what is not. And this is the newest feature that Flatfile have, something that I'll be showing you today. Super cool thing that they changed recently is that the file will only show you, once you download it at the beginning, it will only show you the required attributes. Okay, the ones that Amazon recommends and demand that you have information on. There are other attributes, which are the ones that we're going to be focusing on, are the complementary ones, the ones that Amazon give you the retail space, but it's up to you if you want to use it or not. Okay, so then we have the open fields, which are basically the cells and the, each little cell where you input information. And there are 2 types. We have drop-down menus, which are closed fields. That means that you can only input information that is in the drop-down menu, okay? And we have the open fields, which are only limited by the amount of characters that you can put there. So for example, the SKU is an open field where you can put up to 40 characters. And the product ID type is a closed field because it only has certain amount of options. So you have UPC, ASIN, EIN, ESBN, stuff like that. But you cannot input something like barcode, right? You cannot write your own input. It's just what is there. And then the last part of the structure, which you only gonna get it after you upload the file and you get errors, okay? So it is this thing, the feed processing report. It is an extra tab that it shows, that appears in the flat file after you get errors in the system. So let's say that today, and one of the things that I will recommend you in like kind of the homework after you see this presentation or while you're watching, is download the category listing report, and without doing anything to it, absolutely nothing, you don't even need to open it if you don't want to, upload that file. Okay, that's in partial update. So what that does is that it will give you the listings or the SKUs that are unhealthy in the sense that they have any catalog issue in the back end, they have discrepancies, or you have a contribution rights problem. Okay, good part, like this is the first step in order to really optimize the back end, because what we're gonna see after, which is how to add more keywords, cannot be done if you don't have your listing healthy. Why? Because the changes won't go through, and you will always see it in the feed processing summary. Okay, so what this part of the structure is basically like a summary of all the issues that are happening in your listings. So we have the type error, and we have a number, and then the error message, which is the explanation of what that error is. And this is the part of the flat files that is do it yourself. Like, you can solve your own problems by reading this and applying the changes. Type of flat files I mentioned at the beginning, there are different flat files for different areas of the business. Today, we will only cover inventory and catalog because all the others are honestly not so relevant, especially if you're doing FBA. Because shipping, orders, pricing, well, advertising, that's the one that I think is extremely valuable, but I don't know anything about it. But the other ones are mostly for sellers that are doing FBM, okay? When you want to change stuff in bulk or you want to change pricing. The pricing one is definitely for people that are not using a repricer and have a bunch of listings. For small catalogs, you honestly can change it in Seller Central. What is this file that I've been telling you about that is the one that we're going to be optimizing? This is a file that has attributes, which are the things that Amazon asks you, where you can input information about what your product is, what are the features, characteristics, like parts of it or stuff like that. That's the most important part of the optimization as far as keywords. Then you have pricing, you have quantities, and you have shipping. Okay, all these four sections are compiled in a file called the category listing report. And this is where we're going to find all the information of your catalog. So what are the features of this file? The first one is that it is only available by request. And I'll put a little mark here. I've seen, like recently, accounts that are in beta testing where the category listing report is available without requesting it. And this is mostly for accounts that are older. So that's what I'm seeing. Like, the accounts that have more than 5-7 years, they have the category listing report available at any time. If you don't have it available, and I can walk you through how can you see if you have it available or not, and how can you open the case to get it active, is that you're gonna go to your Seller Central, click in the menu, you're gonna click reports, and under reports you will see inventory reports. Okay, in inventory reports you will have a section, and I can show you how that looks like this. Okay, this is the inventory report dashboard, and in the options you will see the category listing report. If you don't see this by default, like if you don't see it, you will need to open the case, and obviously the instructions are easy to follow. You probably are already familiar with opening a case. You get support, and put in the box like, hey, Amazon team, I would like to have access to my category listing report. Then open the case, and they normally resolve it in less than 30 minutes, I'll say. So you will have access to it. That's super simple. So you click category listing report, and then you request it, and then you download it. Super easy. I do recommend that you do this often because one of the other features that the category listing report has is that it has your complete catalog information. So imagine that you're selling, I don't know, hundreds of SKUs. It's very complicated to manage all the information. So the category listing report has everything in the same place. So I think it's the best database that we can have as far as the information for our listings. And one thing that I like to remember sellers is that, to be honest, there are little things that we have control on Amazon, and there are little things that we own. But one of the things that we own is the information in our listing, right? That is something that we have control, based on the pyramid. We have control if nobody else above us is changing it, but we have control of that information. And that's the most important part, because if you don't have that information right, then you won't get sales, therefore nothing will work, right? So it is important for you to use this file to save your catalog information, just as a matter of saving it for the sake of this is the biggest asset that you have selling on Amazon. But then I'm going to show you how to optimize it, right? How to use it to be better, or to have better outcomes. So you will see all categories attributes, and I'll say that this is related to accounts or catalogs that have multiple categories. So let's say that I have an account and I sell pet supplies, and I also sell on home and kitchen, and I also sell electronics, right? So for those three categories, the type of attributes are completely different, because in the pet supply, it will ask me stuff like what is the color, or what is the length, or what is the material, or what is the breed of dog, or something like that. And in home and kitchen, it could tell me what are the dimensions for the furniture, right? So it's different. The attributes are different, and they're specific to each, not only category as a whole, because I could be selling in pet supplies, but I could be selling, let's say, dog treats and water bowls and also toys. Within pet supplies, the attributes for those are different. So what you will see in the Excel spreadsheet is all of the attributes related to all of your listings. So that's why when we have bigger catalogs, these get a little bit intimidating. And that's probably the reason why most sellers don't get used to it or try to work with flat files. It's just because it's too much, right? But I'm gonna show you, and one of the things that I like the most about the change that Amazon did recently to the tabs, so you can expand or shrink, is it is not as overwhelming. So that's amazing. Then it is customizable because you can add or delete columns. And catalog troubleshooting, I already covered that a little bit through the feed processing summary. Okay, so I just want to show you one. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the category listing report, okay? So as you can see, the category listing report is divided in sections, and each section have colors. So the section, so for example, the orange section is the one that is always at the very beginning, and everything that is in orange is like needed to be there. It's required. Okay, you cannot skip information in the orange section. Okay, you always need to have information here. Okay, so if you see here on top, which this is the newest feature that they did, is that they have this bar right now where you can click and shrink the information, okay, or you can expand it, right? So see this. It's super cool, because what this is telling me right now is that the attributes that I'm seeing now in orange are the ones that are 100% required. Okay, only this. In this specific subcategory, which is home and kitchen, I only have this section that is required. But they allow you to have more information if you want for in the same area of the listing. So if I expand this, I will see that I can have a manufacturer part number and a product description. What is basically saying is that you don't really need to have that information in the flat file, but if you want, you can expand and get it. And this is where the optimization comes from, guys. One of the biggest questions that I always get asked is, why do you think a flat file is better than using Seller Central? This is your answer. When you use Seller Central to change a listing, you only have the required or necessary attributes available to you to input information. Okay, so you will see stuff like this, but the hidden ones and the ones that will make the listing more complete in a sense of information, you will have more retail space to put keywords and describe your product in a better way, are the ones that are collapsed here, right? So this stuff, for example, the file is telling me you don't need to have it because it's hidden, but if you do, you will have more information in the listing. Okay, same thing here. It's super cool. I love this new feature. I think it will help a lot sellers to get more used to working with flat files. And the best part is that for beginners, you can start just with the things that are shown there without clicking the plus section. Okay, so my favorite part, which is the one that we're gonna be working the most if we wanna optimize for keywords, and especially to target the hidden market, is this one, the discovery one. So each section have like a name. So the pink one is the variation, if this is a family. Discovery, as the name explains, this is all the attributes that help your listing to get discovered in search. And one of the things that I truly believe it is very important to understand is that right now Amazon is shifting from having just one field for keywords. Do you remember? Or well, this is still true in some categories, in some products, but you have a section called subject matter or keywords or platinum keywords, or it always changes names, but it's basically the same thing. It is a space of 200 characters, 250 characters, where you can put just keywords that are relevant in search for your product. So you put there things that help the system put you in the search when a client is looking for your specific product. But what happens right now is that the system is not only using this specific attribute, which is, you can call it subject matter, search terms, keywords, whatever it is. They're looking listings in a more holistic way. And what does that mean? It means that every piece of information that you add to your listing is relevant for the search, especially when you are in categories that have a lot of filters. And how that looks like is something like this. I look for a vacuum cleaner on Amazon. I look that I can filter by the core type, the bag type, the home vacuum feature, the floor, the curve. Like, there are so many different fields that I can filter the vacuums, that and when I filter them, let's say that I just want a vacuum for carpet, not for hard floors, but for carpets, the search results change completely. I don't see the same thing that I was seeing before filtering stuff. And the way that the system positions listings there is because the information that we have in the backend. So the discovery section, the green section, allows you to do that. it allows you to input the most amount of information for your specific niche or for your specific subcategory. So you can tell the system, or you can train the system on how it needs to show your listing to customers when they're looking for it for search, right? Because one thing that the system is not doing is reading, let's say that I have in my title, let's say that I have vacuum for carpets. The system is not reading your title to filter you through this. Okay, what is taken is the information that you're putting your discovery section. Okay, and this doesn't apply to vacuums because this flat file is for home and kitchen, specifically for grills, right? And the type of attributes that I have here are different. So that is the thing that is extremely important. So one of the things that you're gonna do, and if you see, if I close this, is if I close all the other attributes that I'm seeing, the green section becomes very, very, very short. And that's the opposite from what we want to do. We want to have the most amount of information possible just because we want to optimize for search. Okay, so see, I collapsed that, and now the discovery, look, it only has just a couple of ones, not the things that you had before, that I had before. Okay, so super, super, super relevant for you guys. One other thing that I'll say is that if you see information that is blank or that is gray, okay, that means that you don't have anything there. And basically, it opens the opportunity for you to input information. So, two things before we get into adding more information. The first one is that most of the times when you download the category listing report, you will have to unprotect the sheet. So you will click review in the top section, and you will click here. So mine is unprotected already, but for you, it might read here unprotected sheet. Okay, so if I click it, well, this is not, but unprotected sheet, you're gonna click that, you're gonna accept that, because that will tell the system that you will make changes to all attributes and sections. If you don't do that, you can come across issues trying to add more information or even deleting attributes. Okay, so that's the first part. And then the second one, you will have a question on, let's say that you download your whole category listing report and you see attributes that are in gray. Okay, what the gray field is telling me is it is basically not designed for my type of product. So for example, protein, it is not designed for grills, which is my product, right? It's not specifically designed for grills. Therefore, I have gray in my field. That's telling me, don't go there, you don't need to put information because it's just not relevant. And this is the cool part and the experimental part of using flat files. I can, even though the field is not designed for my specific product, I could take some attributes and input information there. So it is a way irrelevant having protein, right? This is not relevant for my product at all because it is a grill. But for example, specialty, I could see how specialty is an attribute that is relevant for my product. Why? Because I have a grill and my grill is for outdoors. So I could say that the specialty of my grill is that it's a grill for outdoors, right? And what this does is it will add more keywords into the back end so the system knows better what my product is. And remember what I mentioned before, they are not relying so bad or so hard into that cell or that field called search terms or keywords or subject matter or whatever. They're using a holistic view of your listing, seeing all the information you have to rank there. So let's say that I want to have here in specialty, I'll have something like outdoor grill, right? And I just unlock this field. You see that it turned from being gray, which is the system telling me that's not relevant, to now I have information there, and I now I have outdoor grill. Okay, so there are three options for this type of optimization that I'm doing, and what I'm showing you here is extra space for more keywords in your listing. So three options. The first option is that I go there, I put outdoor grill, and nothing happens. Nothing means I'm not indexing for that keyword. And if you're already indexing for the keyword, this is very hard to to tell. If I am already indexing for outdoor grill, so if I add outdoor grill in my specialty, this won't give me a special power of indexation, right? So nothing happens. I'm not indexing more, and the information is not showing in the front end, meaning it's not showing in my product detail page. Okay, perfect. Nothing happens. That's okay. Then the other option is that it will take information in the backend, so that attribute or that specific keyword will help me in the indexation part, but that won't show in the front end. And these are my favorite type of attributes. Why? Because it basically means that we can add more keywords, right? That are not necessarily written in an SEO friendly format. It doesn't need to make sense. It just need to have the keywords, right? Because it's helping you to index, but it's not showing in the front end. That is the best outcome, in my opinion. And then the last one is it is helping you to index, and also it is showing in the front end. And one of the things that I discovered recently, especially this subcategory, which is grill, the category listing report allowed me to have 10 bullet points, 10 different bullet points, which are here. Let me just. So when I expand this section, I can see, you see here, bullet point 10. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I don't know if this specific category can show 10 bullet points in the front end. Well, it does. And it is super cool. People don't know about it. So I was looking to my competition in the same niche, and they have 4 bullet points, 5 bullet points, but almost none has 10 bullet points. And this is the magic of flat files, because that option of having 10 bullet points was not in Seller Central, was not available for me in Seller Central. So that's where I'm seeing things like, oh, I can add more bullet points with the flat file, and it is amazing. I'm gonna make a disclaimer here. This is not available for every single category, so be mindful. Like, if you download your category listing report and you don't see the option to put 10 bullet points, that's probably because it is completely out of the scope of that specific category. But in this, it works, and it is amazing. So things like flavor, for example, I have a grill that doesn't have any flavor. This is irrelevant for me. I'm not gonna put information on it. And I'll keep optimizing. So style name, search term, melting temperature, this is not relevant. So that's why it's in gray. I put this in yellow, like this is not relevant. So all these things are the ones that you can improve for. So for example, occasion type. I do think that for occasion type, I am relevant. Why? Again, because I can double down on my keywords. Let's say outdoor grill, or I can use it for camping or for special occasions. So I can input more keywords there. And most of the time, those like occasion types are not shown in the front end, but it helped me with the filters. So super, super cool. I want to show you guys, because you already like I already explained the backend. This is basically where you're gonna live. And unfortunately, because obviously I cannot make a video to cover every single subcategory that is on Amazon, which is thousands and thousands of them, I cannot tell you what is gonna work in the three options that you have for your for the fields. I cannot tell you if the occasion type will show in the front end or won't show in the front end, because that is very specific to the subcategory. My guess here, or no, my advice here as a student of the system and somebody that tries different things all the time to see what works, is that try to optimize everything. Try to input as much information as possible. So for example, I'll put handle material, an occasion type, and all of the things that you say, like this could be an opportunity for me to put more keywords. Because if it doesn't work and if it is not relevant for your category, the system just will tell you. And you're not breaking anything. You're not breaking any rules. You're basically optimizing. And this is important. The part of breaking rules. Some people say like, oh, but that's kind of gray area. Not at all. This is completely on their TOS, because one of the biggest premise or basic principles of Amazon is that they want sellers to improve the shopping experience for clients, for customers. And how do you improve the shopping experience? Is by having amazing listings with more information. So I want to show you the example of the vacuum. One of the ones that I found. So when we talk about optimizing with attributes, we're talking about inputting information here in this. This is technical details section. Okay, so it'll tell me the brand, the special feature, from factor, stuff like that. I'll say if you come across with the special feature attributes in your category listing report, this section has about 450 characters that you can input there. So it is huge, because they only put this is backless, but then you have written a whole paragraph, like basically an extra bullet point. And the amazing part of special features is that it is from and center. The buyer will see price, and then the next thing they see is just the special features. So it is super important that you optimize for it, improve it. It will help a lot. And the other section that it will help you with is this part, product information. So you see here that they have a bunch of different stuff. So surface recommendations. So for example, if I will filter in the search, if I will filter here carpet, hardware, or upholstery, this vacuum will show all three. Why? Because it is in the back of the listing. It is in one of the attributes in the back. Same thing with all the other ones. I could filter for other things that are in this part. But and I'll see this and I'll say, like, they have done a great work optimizing. I think they understand flat files. They probably put that information there. But then I came across with these guys. Look, remember the special feature part that I told you here? They only put backless. Okay, they only put this. Look, these guys, they understood their assignment, and they look all of the things they input for special features. And what this means is basically they have way more retail space than the other guy, right? They can really sell these vacuum by telling all the special features it has. It not only is a upgraded turbine motorized floor head, it also has 2 suction power modes, and it also has 1.3 capacity. Like, there is so many things that you can input there. And if you are not sure how many characters are in an open field, one of the other the other updates that they did to flat files is that when you hover on top of the attribute, well, in this case it says valid values, but let's say style name, it tells me use the column jersey type in valid value list, alphanumeric, up to 50 characters. So for the style name, I can only have 50 characters. And this is super cool. Before this update, it was everything about testing. It was testing. Let me put 500 characters and see what happens. Okay, the system rejects it. Let's put 300 and up to get until we get into the perfect amount. But now the system is telling you. So in special features, last time I checked, it was 450. Okay, so that's a lot. And you see all of the things. So for example, included components. The other guys didn't have included components in their section. So, or maybe they did. Oh yeah, included component brush. That's just a waste of retail space. It is such a waste. Look what these guys did. The package included, and they put all of the things. Remember, we're trying to optimize for the buyer that wants to compare vacuums. And if I'm comparing these 2 vacuums because they're basically the same, I'll say okay, this is giving me more information than the other one. Therefore, I get to, probably be persuaded to buy this one more than the other one. And the other thing that is the second part of the presentation is that how can you improve sales for purchases experience? It is basically using the backend and using all these attributes that I'm showing you today to input Spanish keywords. So I'm going to share a little bit about why Spanish is so relevant. And this is an extra level. This is not only you should use Spanish keywords because it's Spanish. No. This is real data from Amazon. So first of all, Spanish is the most or the second most spoken language in the US. Super relevant. It is the Hispanic market is the fastest growing demographic in the country. So for you to understand, Amazon they knew about this. They knew that the Hispanic market is an amazing opportunity. So what they did was optimizing for it. Basically, they offer now the whole shopping experience in English and in Spanish. As you can see here, I am now browsing in English, but I could toggle and click Spanish, and everything changed to Spanish. So what this means is that things must be optimized for the Hispanic market to buy, right? And one of the biggest reasons is that they account for, this is what I was showing you. How can you see the English one? And I already showed you that. So English, then toggle down to Spanish. So the first thing that you should do once you see this, if you don't know about it, is go to your listings and make sure that the translation is accurate. And I know that you will tell me oh yeah, but I don't speak Spanish. And that's okay. What we're looking for is missing information or very, very different information. So for example, if you see here in my example of the pillow, you can see that the English section, I have the size. So it says queen size set of 2. And I can see in the Spanish one that I don't have any number. I don't see any number and I don't see any size. And the size in English and Spanish is the same. Queen is the the same word that they use to refer to sizes in pillows. So I don't see the number 2. I don't see queen. So I know, without knowing Spanish, I know that title is wrong. And the last part that I realize is that I am missing a bullet point. So in English, I have 5 bullet points. In Spanish, I only have 4. This is extremely, extremely important for us to understand, because they are so many. And in my VIP video, I really shared the data, Amazon real data, on how big this market is and how much more we can add to it by optimizing with flat files. Is that there are already Spanish speaking shoppers buying on Amazon, but they are completely underserved by the fact that we don't have accurate information. So me as a Spanish speaker, I'll see this listing, and just by reading the title, I don't really know if this is 1 pillow or 2 pillows. And I don't really know what size it is, right? Just by looking on the title. The other thing is that I don't need understand the other features. For example, if I'm reading the bullet points, one thing that I can just tell you just by looking at it, I don't know, in the English part it says that it is 100% cotton cover, and I don't have that information in the Spanish one. So this is why Spanish keywords are so low converting. It's because listings are just not optimized for it. Because if I, as a Spanish speaker, I'm looking for a set of 2 queen size pillow, and I click on this, I don't have enough information to make the purchase decision. Therefore, I'm just gonna click and not buy anything. Big part of optimizing. And then on top of that, and that's the other thing that I'll show you now that I have my experience in Spanish, the search results are completely different when I look in Spanish. So I'm gonna look for a vacuum cleaner, which is so much. My search results here are different. What I'm seeing now, it's different from what I was seeing when I was looking vacuum cleaner. Okay, completely different. So that's a huge thing. And I'll say the only way we can optimize our listings to show in search results for Spanish keywords is by adding the Spanish keyword in the backend, or having Spanish or having people look through the Spanish experience and purchasing our product, which is something that technically we cannot control, right? We cannot control the fact that they click on it and they buy it through to a Spanish term. What we can control is the information that we have in the backend. So all the VIP session is about that. It's about what we can sacrifice to take out for English keywords that we are already extremely optimized for and ranking and indexing perfect, to start adding Spanish keywords and ranking better. Also, I share some statistics officially from Amazon on how big is the market, why do you need to go there, and what is that they're optimizing for. So other of the features why this is extremely relevant is that sometimes we see discrepancy in information. So in this case that I'm putting here, the title in English, it says that is 1 camera, and the title in Spanish, it says that is 4 cameras. So what happened is that if a buyer is purchasing your product and they get a misleading title or a missing information, let's say in the example of the pillow, if I buy this just reading in Spanish and I just get two, and I get 2 pillows, but I didn't know that there were 2 pillows, so I bought 2 packets, then I get 4, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be upset because I didn't have enough information. So same thing. On the other hand, obviously getting 4 is better than getting just 1. But in this case, the seller was complaining that their title in Spanish said that there are 4 cameras. So a customer complained, and they got a product restriction, and all of the stuff that can happen when a customer complains on Amazon, and they got the listing shut down just because the discrepancy of information. So you should be careful with it. Restricted, okay, this is misspelled, but restricted keywords, that's the other thing that is super, super relevant. So if you see here, and obviously you can see it, but you don't understand, the last 2 keywords that are in the title in Spanish are pesticide keywords. So if you ever get your listing shut down for some reason that you don't understand, and they tell you, oh, your product is a restricted product, and you're infringing in whatever policy, it could be pesticide, it could be prohibited substances, or it can be anything. It could be, if you see your listing is completely perfect and clean in English, it could be the Spanish translation that is wrong. And this is what I'm showing you here is not a different ASIN. It's not even a different SKU. The Spanish translation is the shadow of the English one. So this is the Spanish one, and then we have the English one, and then the Spanish one is just the translation. It's just a direct shadow of the one that we already have on Amazon, and we already improve and all the stuff. They just don't do the translation automatically. That's why it's so important that you do it, because you can come across with issues, and the only way to solve it is just changing the translation. So be mindful if you ever get into a situation like that. Super frequent. And then missing attributes, as I show you, I was missing in this example, I was missing in the title information, or I was also missing a bullet point. I seen listings in Spanish that are missing completely the A+ content, description, a bunch of different sections. Okay? So, as I mentioned before, the way to rank in search for Spanish keywords is by first, obviously, having the traffic for it. So if I click aspiradora, which is the same thing as vacuum cleaner, and I purchase this, the system will rank me higher for the keyword in Spanish, even though I don't have the keyword necessarily in the back end. But if you go right now and you look for your best-selling keyword, your main keyword, and you translate it into Spanish, and you're not showing in search result, it is time to optimize the backend. It is time to go there and use flat files and use those attributes that are not showing, and the flat file will give you access to when you just expand the section, to start inputting that keyword for the system to rank you. And it is super important that we get to understand that the search results for English and Spanish are different, are completely different. This is a different algorithm. It works completely different, and just by history, relevance, and what are the information that you're inputting in the backend. Okay, so another great tip after you get into this, because now that you understand, I cover the basic principles of flat files. Now you know that you can optimize, right? And you can optimize, guys, you can optimize without tapping into the Spanish market. If you just want to optimize for English, that's completely fine. I just think that you're missing out. But the other part, after you optimize for Spanish, you have one of my favorite things about this whole thing is that you can really drive up the revenue, because the ad potential is huge. like nobody, well, no, not nobody, but less people are advertising for Spanish keywords. And because of that, the cost per click is lower and you have less competition. So as you can see here, look, I have the banner, so the sponsor brand. I have 1, 2 sponsor ones. You're just 2 on top of the search. But if I change this to the English one, I have, oh, well, the same thing. Highly related, which is also sponsored, is not in Spanish, I believe. Oh, yeah, it is. Well, in some other categories are completely different. The amount of people that are advertising for Spanish is not as high, especially long tail keywords. So I have another one. Well, we have video in English. Nobody's advertising a video in Spanish. Yeah, kind of the same thing in this category. There are other ones that are way more dramatic. I believe Pillow is one of the ones that is super dramatic, where you can see like 6 sponsored products at the beginning, and then when you click and you toggle to Spanish, you only see like 2 or 3. So that's super relevant. You just need to check where is your niche standing there, right? Then localization. This is this is the part where it gets a little bit complex, but it is the thing that will 10x your sales in Spanish for sure. It's the thing of, you can right now create localized advertising on Amazon, where you can have a video, a picture of a banner that is completely in Spanish for the Spanish market, like the title or like the text that is there, even the images. Like obviously appealing to an American market or an American consumer is different to appealing to a Hispanic one. Because sometimes our product has different uses, or the model can look different. That's it. That is huge. So it is super, super relevant when you create localized or laser targeted campaigns for your listings in Spanish or for your keywords in Spanish. And then the micro niches, I say this because in the Hispanic market, there are many different nationalities. So we have people from Argentina, Colombia, Spain, Mexico, you name it. Each different country in Latin America or in the Spanish market has different culture. Therefore, their consuming patterns are different. So let's say that we are, and this is the example that I give all the time, is let's say that you are selling a griddle, right? A griddle for the US market can be used to make breakfast, to make pancakes, to make bacon, to make an omelette or something like that. A griddle for the Mexican market has a completely different use, because they use it to make tortillas and quesadillas and stuff like that. For the Venezuelan market, they use it for a completely different thing, which is arepas and I don't know, whatever other thing. Same thing in Argentina. So once you change the country, which is still, it speaks Spanish and it understands what your product is, it has different uses. So imagine what you could do if you already know that there is a market here, and I share numbers in the VIP session. If you already know that there is a market and you can localize that market, because also Amazon give you like the information of when your products are getting purchased from, right? And there are there is information around where are the biggest localization of Hispanic consumers are. So if you're a big seller in Texas, you're probably already selling to the Hispanic market without even addressing them directly. So that's what the micro niche does. If you understand that, and then you can make changes to your advertising, you don't necessarily need to change the information in the listing, but if you can make information if you can change the information on your advertising, then you can target those micro niches. And each country is a different, is a different one when you understand what they use it for, what they use your product for. Sometimes it's the same, most of the times it's different. So, you're listing your information. You will tell me, and this is a question that obviously I get asked. Hey Vanessa, can I just tell Amazon what they should put in my information in Spanish? Right? Can I give them the title? Can I give them the bullet points or the description or whatever? And the answer is unfortunately no. You cannot add or request the change in Spanish. You need to get under the translation team to get that translated. Okay, so they do a good job when you request specific words. So let's say that I want to use vacuum cleaner, or in Spanish, aspiradora. So for example, aspiradora, it ends in A. This one doesn't have the A. So let's say that this is my listing and I really need the word aspiradora to be there. So I can contact the translation team, and I put here some examples and say like, hey guys, I need to update my listing in case that my title is completely out of range from what my information in English is. But also, if you think it's good, but you want to change some stuff, you can request them the change. Again, this is not that you're going to give them the new title. It's just specific, very, very specific keywords that you can request. So like most of the times they do it. It could be that they just say like, no, that's not relevant for some other reason. But that's the thing. So step by step, open a case with seller support and ask them to escalate this to the translation team. And I'll say this, the translation team, it is not a mainstream team. So not every seller support associate knows that this team exists. So if you get a pullback saying like, oh, that doesn't exist, or you get transferred to other team, just be consistent, or be pushy enough for them to get you to the right team. It does exist. I can certify that. Just not a lot of people know about it. And then you request the update of your translation. So that's the first part of you optimizing your listing. You optimize the listing in the front end with the translation, and then you go with flat files and change the information so you can get index in the keywords that you want to index for, right, in the Spanish. And what other things that you can do on top of optimizing the front end and the back end? Two things is advertise on Spanish keywords, super relevant. It is cheaper. The ROI and the ACOS is way better once you are optimized for that customer. If you have the right keywords and if you have the right listing, if your information makes sense, the improvements with advertising is great. And the last thing is pay attention to the Hispanic holidays. And I love this. This is the best hack, because there are some holidays that are different for the Hispanic market. For example, Mother's Day in Colombia is in September, and Father's Day in Bolivia is like in October or something like that. So what can you do if you have 3 or 4 Mother's Day in a year, right? And if you optimize for it, and for the same season you create coupons and you create advertising in Spanish, you can start driving traffic. And one of the things that I'll say is that the Hispanic market, one of the biggest insights is that it is super loyal to brands that are serving them directly, right? With the right information, with right keywords and stuff like that. So that's it for this session. I hope that you got to understand the basic principles of flat files, understand what are the things that you can optimize for in the back end to drive more awareness or keywords or traffic to your listing. Also, the importance of this hidden market, which is the Hispanic market in the US. Other thing that I'll add there is that this does not require for you to send inventory to a different country or create a different listing or necessarily change your whole pictures and make it super laser target to the Hispanic market. You can work with the same infrastructure that you have. So super relevant. And lastly, apply all that knowledge to improve. You can decide whether you're gonna just double down on your English one or you want to expand to the Spanish one. Super powerful, guys. Don't just leave this and say like, oh, that was funny. It's a nice session about flat files. Just implement. If you can implement at least one of the things that I shared with you, you will be far more successful than other sellers that don't really know or that are completely unaware that this tool exists. And remember, we're getting into an era where selling online is gonna be down to the science. It's not testing or just like the wild west. It is a science, and once we understand the tools that we have, we can start making amazing improvements.
All right, so if you want to connect with Vanessa, take a screenshot or write down, stop the video. Cool. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for this amazing 60, 75 minutes or so.
Wow.
And oops, but
Yeah.
We see your passion about flat files, flat files.
Right.
Yes. Amazing content. Thank you for the updates and the hacks and tricks. And we do have a few quick questions related to your presentation. But before that, I wanted to mention, and you can take a break shortly, that during Seller Fest Online organization, while we're preparing this event, we asked 20 speakers to show, to deliver additional content, and each additional video will not be publicly released anywhere. And if you want to access them, you need to just do a little investment, and you will find the link below in the description as well. You can see the link on the screen. And in this package, you will have additional 20 videos with people like Brian Johnson, Stephen Pope. They go in more depth, telling you how to find keywords, how to increase conversions, some workshop style step-by-step guides, how to, let's say, find virtual assistants in Philippines for your business, and so on and so on. And also Vanessa provided additional video in this package as well. Once you upgrade, you will get access to the members area like this. And for example, Vanessa's video is here, additional 25 minutes of content. And now let's take a few questions. I will bring Lisette back to lead questions, and we will end the session afterwards. So Vanessa, here we go.
Okay, one more thing. So I also wanted to thank Vanessa for such a detailed presentation, and all of the viewers who are watching us live, then definitely don't forget to like the video and also subscribe to our channel to see more videos with Vanessa in the future. So the first question for you is from Andres, and he's asking, how can I add subject matter to my listing if there is no field in the backend edit tab on Seller Central?
That's a great question, Andres. Subject matter is one of the attributes that, as I mentioned before, it was changing in some categories, meaning that Amazon was taking it out, so they didn't allow to have subject matter anymore. But let's say that we want to, test the waters and see if we can add more, or if we can make that attribute happening in your listing. The thing that you will do is this. So I'm going to share again my screen, and I'll show you through a file. Subject matter. It is here. So I believe that you're asking the question because you don't have it. So let's say that you don't have the subject matter, and I'm showing you here for you to get the second and third row. So what you're going to do is you're going to, in the green section, no matter if it's at the beginning, at the end, whatever, you're going to insert a column. So you see I insert something, and I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste it. Okay, this is what you need to do. Obviously, because you don't have my file, you cannot copy and paste. You need to type exactly, and I mean it, exactly how it is now in my screen. You need to add the column in your file and input that information exactly how it is. And it is important that I need to emphasize the fact that it needs to be exactly, because the third row, if it is not with the lower and uppercase and with the underscore and the separation exactly the same, the system won't just read it. Like it won't allow it, so you will get an error. The second row is not as relevant, but the third one needs to be exactly the same. So what you're gonna do now is that you're gonna add another column in the green section, and you're gonna type subject matter, and you're gonna add it there. So there are 2, 3, 4, 5 subject matters. So you can add 5 subject matters, and let me read if it tells me. So for example, look here, the system is telling me not currently used in home. And my main category for grill is home and kitchen. So the system is telling me, yeah, this section exists, but it's not used in home. Again, for this specific type of attributes, I will still optimize for it. I will still add keywords in my subject matter, even when the system is not using them, because I want to log that information in the backend. Like, no questions. Like, if there is a retail space where I can put information, even though it's not impacting necessarily my category, which it can change it changed very frequently. Like, Amazon is telling that subject matter is not relevant in home right now, but I don't know if in 6 months we will be. So I prefer to have that information. That's the way that you can add it when you don't have it. So you just need to find for other fields, for other files that have the attributes that you want to add, and just copy and paste it. That's it. That's why one of the features of a flat file is that it is customizable, because you can do things like this.
Okay, thank you very much for showcasing that. So next question is from Cristiano, and he is asking, probably he meant, how can I download a personalized flat file for my product category?
Okay, so if we want
Or
to
maybe upload or download.
Yeah. So let's cover both questions. If we want to download a personalized one, like you don't get a personalized one, in the sense like when you download the category listing report, it will have all the information of your category, of your catalog, all of it. That's it. If you want to personalize, let's say that you have 150 SKUs and you just want to work with 10, you can delete the rows. You can just delete it, right? If we're talking about updating or uploading a personalized flat file, is basically what I just covered. You're gonna download the template, right? Optimize the template. In case that you know that there is a field that you really want to have there, you can add it, inserting an extra column and just finding out how the attribute is named, and that's how you personalize it.
Okay, and actually we have a question about downloading the flat files too. So if you can briefly describe how can sellers download a flat file, where exactly is it located inside of Seller Central?
So I miss how to download the flat file. Is it the listing loader or the inventory loader file? No. So the category listing report and the inventory loader file are completely different files. Perfect. So, okay, the thing that I told you about the PDF was, downloading it, is that you're gonna go into your menu, and in this case it's inventory, and this is an old version. But now they changed the inventory reports to be under reports, where they're supposed to be, obviously. This is no-brainer, right? So you're gonna click report and you're gonna click inventory reports, and then you're gonna see this. And in the drop-down menu, you will see or not the category listing report. If you don't see the category listing report, then you need to open a case and request access. But if you see it here, you just click request report and download it. That's how you do it. The inventory loader file is a completely different file related to inventory information. You won't see attributes like color or size or product name or stuff like that. Not at all. It's just like inventory. It'll ask you, let's say, the dimensions and the quantities and the price and stuff like that. And it works for a different stuff. So I use the inventory loader file a lot to do problem solving if I want to delete my async from my inventory. But that's a whole different presentation. Like the inventory loader file is one of my favorite tools, but it takes a while to understand how it works.
Perfect. Amazing. What do we have more? We have Ivan says, thank you, Vanessa.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank
There's
you.
one more question from Ivan. If I update the current attributes of a listing through flat files, does it affect my organic position? Yes or no?
Yes. Like the whole point, let's say that you are selling a vacuum cleaner, right? And you didn't have at all the keyword in Spanish. This is just an example. You didn't have it at all, so you were ranking in Spanish in position, I don't know, 100. Okay. Once you get that keyword in the back end, it will potentially help you to be ranked in a higher position. The biggest thing is the indexation. So you get ranking, you get the most ranking when people start buying and start looking for your product, when they look for something. What a flat file helps you a lot is with indexation. So let's say that you sell the vacuum cleaner and you're already indexing and you're already in, let's say, position 67 for vacuum cleaner, which is probably third page, right? If you're already there, and let's say that you put again in your file, you put vacuum cleaner, that won't help you. Like that won't do anything for you because you are already indexing. What we need to drive now is the traffic to rank higher, basically to telling the system that you are relevant for that keyword, right? And you should be in a higher position. So it is a yes and no question, because it will help your organic if you're not indexing or you're way back, like kind of like the leftovers of the search. You can index and be better, but that won't put you necessarily on page number 1, because that depends on ranking, which is different. Ranking means that people are looking for that keyword and you are relevant for that search. So yeah, both yes and no.
Okay. The last. Sorry. Is active listing report the same as category listing report?
No. As active listing report is basically what are the listings or SKUs that you have active in your category, in your catalog right now. It'll tell information like price and title and async and SKU, but it won't have the attributes. The category listing report is different because it has all the attributes. So Lisa, if you don't see the category listing report in the drop-down menu in the inventory reports, just open a case. It's not that your account is broken or something. You just need to request access.
Perfect. That's it. Thank you. And
Thank you.
You will find all the contact details of Vanessa below in the description, or the website address also, if you scroll back the recording, you will find her contact details. And how do you help Amazon sellers? One more time, we forgot already. It was 1 hour ago you mentioned.
Well, we basically, and I love to say that we help to solve the unsexy problems. So everything that, sellers don't know how to do it, they don't have the patience to do it, or they don't have the time to do it, we basically take care. Everything is Seller Central around catalog, inventory, and account health. We do. So basically, we're the problem solvers that every seller needs, because every seller has problems.
All right. And every non-seller has problems.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but I cannot help with those.
Yeah, no. All right. Thank you very much, Vanessa. It was great to have you here. And
Thank you, guys.
From the top.
Thank you.
So,
Have a good day.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao. And now I would like to invite you to watch other video on our channel where you will learn how you can save time to when you are using Amazon flat files. So it's very related what you heard today, just additional tips for you.